Welcome to the garden. Today we got our really first hard frost. And I wanted to pull out the last of the vegetables. So we've got some celery that I insulated with leaves. And although it's frozen on the surface, all this down at the base is all really nice and fresh. Same with the onions. The tops have frozen, but the bulbs are actually quite nice. So we're going to be using those up along with some herbs, sage, rosemary, thyme, and maybe some parsley to make a quick little stuffing. I'm also going to add in dried marigold flowers just to be a little bonus. But I've been drying these herbs for a few weeks now, and I'm just going to strip them down and grind them up. So there's rosemary, and the balance really isn't that important as long as you get them all in there. I like a lot of sage, a lot of rosemary, and a lot of thyme. So I just balance the three. And then thyme is going to take a while. So you might want to do this ahead of time. Stripping all these thyme leaves can be quite tedious, but we'll get there. So once you've got your herbs, you want to get some nice stale bread. This could actually be a little more stale, but to go quick you can cut it into long strips like this, and then cut the strips into long pieces like that. Let's do a couple of these so I can show you how quick it goes. So there's half our loaf right here. And you could obviously buy the pre-made stuffing mix that's going to be nice and stale and ready to go. But this was really cheap bread, and we got a meal out of it already. Let it go stale and we're getting a second meal. So then this you could bake as is, standalone, like in a baking dish or in a muffin tray. Or you could obviously stuff your bird. That's the traditional way to do it. Your turkey. And then we're going to add our celery and our onions. So I'm just going to roughly chop these up because I like a nice rustic stuffing. And that's really one of my favorite dishes in Thanksgiving is the stuffing. And I think it's the herbs that do it for me. The herbs are just magnificent. That sage, you really don't get an excuse to use sage a lot, but it's one of my favorite herbs. So I'm not using the onion tops, but we'll be processing the celery down here. And you could add melted butter to this, or if you're cooking in your bird, the juices will just flow in and soak up and be just amazing. So I'm just going to quick mix our herbs here. Not really breaking them down too much, but a little bit helps distribute that flavor. And then just add them all to your bread. And last but not least, let's see if we can find some parsley. Most of this on the surface is frozen, which we may just have to use, but there's some down low that's still pretty good. So I'm just going to break this up by hand. And this is related to celery. It's not part of the mint family like the other herbs, but very important to get your parsley in there. So that's basically it for your stuffing. You can modify this however you like. I've added those marigold flowers and they just look amazing. But all the flavor comes from these dried herbs, the rosemary, the thyme, the sage. And then the parsley, celery, and onion too. So that's how I make my stuffing for Thanksgiving. I hope you give it a go. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.